Elevate your new week, fuel your success. SSM invites you to kickstart each weekday with our news update Between the Lines, featuring the week's top news and analysis and the most attention-grabbing lines, deciphering world events. Hook up to SSM Monday program Between the Lines.
Hello, viewers. Yes, this is Monday, 26th of August, 2024, and we're here on our program Between the Lines. My name is Mark Godwin Iweajuwa, and I have my coordinators of fellow contributors from different parts of the world joining me. Right there in Lagos, Nigeria, is our Olayinka Raji. Raji, welcome to Between the Lines today, the 26th.
Good evening, Mark. Good evening, viewers from across the globe. Welcome to Between the Lines on Monday.
Yes, you're welcome, Raji.
Glad to be here.
We are happy to see you too. You made it through the weekend. Also joining us in Toronto, Canada, Raji, is our man, coordinator, Sir George Chukwu. Sir George Chukwu, you're welcome to Between the Lines.
Well, good afternoon, good morning, and good evening, depending on where you're watching from. And I want to say hello to Matt Godwin Iweajuwa and Olayinka Raji. Viewers from around the world, welcome to Between the Line. This is where we make it real and keep it real in our news. Thank you.
Keep it real, George. Thank you, George. I like the bow tie. You're looking like from here you're going for some banquet, some dinner outing.
you know how it is. Maybe I'm coming from one.
Coming from one. Okay. Raji is there for us. So, guys, yes, we're here, and a lot of world events, a lot of occurrences have been going on. Before we were just getting to the studio, something is happening in Lagos. Raji, in Lekki area of Lagos, they said gunshots are being fired, and the first son of the Ojomu of Ijeri land, that's the monarch in that kingdom, in that community, his first son has been killed. Is that correct, Raji? Have you gotten that news? He came in while we were.
No, I'm sorry, I'm not on top of that news yet. Yes.
Okay.
But
it's a news flash.
That area has always been very, very turbulent because of land matters. Since Dangote has gotten there, there have been so many, a lot of, from time immemorial, people have been fighting over that land, and the monarchs in those areas have become so terribly strong, and the effect of the Omoniles is becoming something else. So, but I haven't heard that story, the story you just mentioned. No, not yet.
Yeah, it just happened just like 10 minutes ago. But before we continue, let's bring in our diva. We're happy to have with us Yema Benson from Turkey, Istanbul, Turkey. Yema, how are you?
Thank you so much. Good evening, Mark. Mark, good evening, everyone. And good evening, viewers, and thanks for tuning into SSM Media, Between the Lines.
Yes, we miss your face, your voice, and your views for long. George, see our
Yes,
diva.
sir. Yema Benson, welcome all the way from Turkey.
Thank you.
It's been a long time.
I'm going to be showing up soon. By the way, Mark, I just wanted to ask a question. Can Olayinka Raji explain to us what Omonile means? What does that represent? What is their function? Because it's very important for the world to understand what Omonile means and who they are and what they do.
Omonile simply means children of the landlord, of the owner of the land, the landowner's children, and maybe there is relatives. So Omonile, they are a terrible menace on people who want to buy land in any area where they operate. Specifically, the land use decree has given the land to the governor of the state. However, traditional owners of the land still have a lot of power, and therefore, if you bought land in an area where there were a lot of Omoniles, before you can do anything, you have to settle them. Sometimes they can sell the land to more than 2 people, and then you come onto the land and you have to fight it out with each other for the land.
Okay, thank you so very much. The reason why I was bringing it up because you see, we know we have these type of Omoniles all over Nigeria.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, it's penetrated into the eastern region, eastern part of Nigeria, whereby for you to change your window or to do any reconstruction, you have to pay the so-called Omoniles in the east and stuff like that. If they see you putting sand anywhere because you're doing construction or reconstruction, you have to pay. So these are the things that are happening in our country that we believe need to be stopped.
These are the things happening we believe needs to be stopped. So basically, viewers, what Raji just did was explain that it's an acronym of a group of people that possess a community, a land, a territory, and they enforce their rules on the dwellers. They control what happens in that community. They tell you how you sell your land, what you do. So this is it. Omoniles. So we have them in Lagos. We have them in different parts of the world, like George just said, and they are gaining more momentum as long as this kind of government that we have now is still in power, because this government somehow supports those kind of people with Oluomo, Raji. Am I correct? With Oluomo. In the Hems of Affair, Oluomo is more like that in that circle, you know. So they have more power in that view. Is that not so, Raji?
You see, because also they use them for politics, and therefore they are given a lot of free reign over the community land, and therefore they are a law unto themselves. They are serious menace.
Thank you very much. So
may I say something, Mark? I think I remember when I was in my state, Akwa Ibom, and the evening there are these market women that sells things on the road. They pay for that place they stay, and that this set of boys that just go there to get money from these women unauthorized. They're not the tax forces, nothing. They're just saying, give us money. Like, I wonder what the money is for. So, and to think that, like Mr. Raji said, is that the governments are using them for politics. This whatever they're doing is not in the constitution. They're doing it on their own, and this money is made by these women with their sweat, and they use it to smoke. So I think it's really imbued in the government that they need to stop it, because it's very bad for them, the people.
George, how do you think we can go about reducing? It might not have an abrupt stop, but reducing the menace of this.
We need to create a crime alert. A crime alert is a place where people can come and report things and let it get investigated. Now, a crime alert also will have a back end, situation whereby if you're calling frivolously and they can identify who you are, you will face charges. So a crime alert is a number that you can call to report stuff like this. And it's anonymous. Nobody knows to know that you are the one that called. And what happens with that is, with that kind of situation, you can call in, give names, and give instances of what happened, and let them be investigated. And when they find out, they hold those people responsible and accountable for that type of unruly type of behavior. And what ends up is a lot of people will be afraid. If the government wills,
sorry, Sir George, you can see that my lips have changed. I was smiling as you were talking. You see, that crime alert thing would be like a criminal complaining to another criminal about something that
exactly.
Yeah, it won't work.
Rather, I would say a complete taking out of that whole thing, and it starts from the motor parks. The motor park and some of these places now, they are now, I would suggest you galvanize them into an institution, into an organization, a unit or an agency, instead of them just running around and committing their crimes.
But this shouldn't be to the government. The government are aware of these people, Massive Mark. So the government has an hand in this. So saying sign for the motor park is not working. The government has to stop from their own end.
Stop forget it. If you
hold on.
Politics.
Sorry, please.
In a civil society where peace is actually demanded, peace and tranquility of the people are actually demanded. If you can hold the government responsible, listen to this. We might be smiling because of the way things happen in Nigeria. It did not start that way where we are living right now in North America or in Europe or in Turkey, but because people insisted on their constitutional human rights, and then when the government is defaulted in an area, they are called to order and they are held responsible. Let me tell you something. As much as a lot of people are not suing the government, when you begin to sue the government outside of Nigeria for violation of certain things that are happening within, and then hold these court people responsible when cases come to them, they will not judge based on who bribes them the most. Then you begin to see clean environment come, orderliness come into a community. But if it's a place where everybody does what they want when they want because they can get away with it, or you pick up the phone and call your neighbor simply because they parked the car in the wrong place, and then you say that they stole your TV or whatever, and then they come and arrest them without investigation, then that becomes an issue. But we need to come to a place where we will have, listen to this, it is possible. You guys are laughing because the fish is escaping from the head in Nigeria. You're laughing because of that, and I understand you. Or maybe most of you have not lived in an orderly community where things actually happen the way it's supposed to. And citizens are demanding it. And it is changing. So it is possible.
All right, George. All right, Nyema. Thank you all. Yes, that was a small one. We didn't plan this. We didn't arrange to say this. It just came out spontaneous. Omonile and the havoc they create in our country. Gentlemen, let's go to some fast breaking news. The president just sacked the DSS Director General, and he says there will be a replacement soon. The DSS is the Defense Security agency, very, very important for the country. So there shouldn't be that gap in between who replaces and who goes away and who replaces. So, but anyway, that's the news we heard. And also, Raji, we heard that resident doctors have begun a 7-day warning strike. And they are pulling very strong on this. Also on strike, we heard university lecturers are planning to go on strike. So it's strike season now. If we move on, do you guys want to say anything? George, you want to say anything on these updates?
So I had an appointment to see a urologist at LASUS, the Lagos State Teaching Hospital, this morning. And I got there only to be told that they were on strike. The whole place was quite deserted. It's unfortunate. Much as I agree with the resident doctors, their conditions of service is nothing to run home about. It's nothing to write home about. And it is pathetic. A lot of them have a chance to leave this country, but they elected to stay. Because if they leave, they will get better conditions. But most of them elected to stay because maybe of the length of time they have been in the service, they don't want to lose seniority, or they don't want to go and start afresh. But the government, the environment is not making it easy for them to sustain themselves because the cost of living is overriding them. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, man. What do you have on these strikes? The resident doctors, varsity lecturers planning to also go on strike. Well, what do you have on that?
I mean, it's like a recurring decimal in Nigeria. It's never stopping, and it's quite sad that things like my university, that this thing has to keep repeating itself. I mean, people want to live to a better standard of life for themselves, and I mean, if I were them, I would leave as well. But it's sad that the government is doing nothing about it, and the Nigeria is becoming worse each day. And the government is doing nothing about it. It's really sad. It's really sad. I mean, they should move to a better place. I mean, since the government is doing nothing about it, I would just say. I think that's what I have to say.
So my question is, what is it that the doctors are demanding, and why are they protesting? Because number one, you look at the government, they have already started. Once this administration came in, they made sure that their pockets are fatted up with all kinds of, their salaries and allowances, where, just the news that was flashing in the past 10 days is that, they were saying that it's 1 million naira per month, but now it's become 21 million naira per month. That's what, the senators are receiving. And then also you go down to the House of Reps, the same thing. So they make sure that nobody stops them when they want to increase their, increase their salaries. Now they have jumped into the other part of it, the judicial department, and they have fatted them up. No questions asked. So when it came to the common people of the land, the people that actually they are serving, it's been a long argument whether it's going to be 60,000 naira or 70,000 naira. But thank God that has been settled. But what about these medical doctors that studied abroad sometimes, and some of them studied within Nigeria? The living condition is so deplorable and so despicable that is compared to somebody who is driving a taxi driver here. And that's what you're getting in our country. And these people are spending their lives saving lives. So when you talk about, you have the police department that protects, you have the government that governs, the executives, you have the judicial, you have to think about these professionals also, because it's a very essential, noble profession. People are dying daily when they are not, they're not there. They are saving lives daily. Those that are in education, professors, they ought to be respected. Doctors ought to be respected. Teachers ought to be respected and given a good living wage so that they will not run away and jump out to another country. And because the people in government, they can afford to fly abroad when it comes to their own sicknesses, the common people are dying. So look at now. If they go on strike, who is suffering? Because these people that are ruling you today, they are able to jump in the flight and go to another country to get medical treatment. But the common man is not able to. And why is it that they must resort to striking before what they are demanding is given to them? Why can't we be fair and considerate over situations that are affecting every department in Nigeria in different services? And that's the reason why it's difficult for corruption to stop, because the fatted people on top, the fat cats on top, they're taking all the money, they're doing whatever they want. The people in below, they're not doing it, they're not getting anything, because there are no ways for them to also, steal money. Therefore, they're living in a despicable, deplorable condition. Look at the police officers in Nigeria. Why do you think they can never stop taking bribes? Because their wages are not enough.
Because their wages are not enough. George, pivotal talk here. George is dropping some real big insights. Gentlemen, that's what we see. Strike season is about to happen. So let's move on now to something I want us to take our time to talk about, and that's malaria. The Nigerian government has appointed Dangote. We all know who Dangote is. We all know who Otedola is, and Elumelu. They say they are going to lead the new malaria eradication efforts by Nigeria. So, Raji, what they want from these people, like somebody said, is their money actually to be put into that project of eradicating malaria. But somehow I'm happy we're calling our own people into this and not waiting for United Nations, WHO, and all those organizations. So do you think these men championing this cause will make headway?
Sorry, before I go on, please, my apologies for the bad lighting I have in my situation now. We don't have power most of Friday now.
You're clear.
Yeah.
Don't worry about that. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. Okay. Now, I don't really understand governance actually, because I have never been in government before. Because I can't see the logic of Dangote, Elumelu, and being at the forefront of eradicating malaria. What they don't have any expertise in medicine. So what is the point? You know, I don't see. So the logic of government is quite strange to me.
Anyway, I'm laughing. Let me finish laughing. Then I'll go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I'm done because there isn't much to say.
What I want to say is that there is an issue actually. Malaria is dealing with Nigerians. We all know. So if we look into ways of helping to reduce at least the effect and people falling ill from malaria, I think it's a noble cause.
Please,
can I come in here?
Sorry, George. Just 1 second. You see, the issue of malaria is not a problem in Nigeria. Malaria is not a problem.
No,
malaria is not a problem. Hold on, please. If I have to go 2 steps back, malaria was never a problem in Africa. Malaria was a problem to the white person in Africa. But then what did they do? We allowed them to dispense from the potent brew that we used to take that made malaria to be less endemic in Africa. We allowed them to extract quinine, which was the active component in the brew that we used to take. And therefore, we now find ourselves getting into a case where every year the malaria parasite started getting to become what do they call it now? To become I've forgotten the medical, so that the quinine destroyed the quinine destroyed the potency of the brew that we used to take, so that the malaria parasite developed a resistance to those things, and therefore, by the time we knew what was happening, malaria has become a problem. What we need to do, yes, okay.
Let me come in here. Okay, number one. I agree with you 100% that because these people were successful in their own endeavors when it comes to their own businesses, Dangote, Elumelu, and then what's his other the other Otedola, just because they are good in what they do does not make them expert in another area. Maybe what they have is the administrative skills to pursue something and see it to the very end. But I would have loved to have somebody like, with all of this bunch of them, where is the medical doctor? Or maybe somebody who is in what do you call the people that produces drugs? A pharmacist who also can look directly into whatever they are discussing, because these people can bring the business idea into the whole entire thing, because they're experts in that area. They're very successful. But what about the medical area, whereby many countries today are introducing some replacement theory? Where are they bringing in a less dangerous malaria and using it to spread around to kill off the other ones? They've been doing it in some other country and it's been working. So these people might not have these ideas. You need a medical doctor and a pharmacist that can see the composition of what can be done in order to eradicate these things. What I'm saying is the government, as you see them, are just what you call, they just publicity government. They want to have emotion but no progress. We'll call all these big names and everybody recognizes. You partner with them. What are you looking for their money for? What in the world are you looking for their money for?
George, what you said is
the major question. If that is the reason why they bring in them, why is the government looking for their money? Because the government will have enough money, and if they create a very complete cycle, people can invest into this, in order to eradicate malaria from Nigeria. So anyway, I don't know their reasoning behind calling these people, because I'm not in line with it.
No. I think it's just what you said. They'll bring their expertise, bring their money, they'll bring idea, and like you said, most of these guys, these men, these millionaires are also mainly outside most of the time. So they've seen that thing you said. That thing you said is important. It's vital. The anti-malaria mosquito that is brought into the place so that it reduces that active one that causes malaria. Yeah, man. We want to pass this level of malaria because it looks like we are having that issue, and we are supposed to have come past this. Yeah, man, what do you think?
I think there is some noise on the
audio.
background.
Yes,
Audio.
Yes. I think I can feel that too. But yeah, man,
Very.
go ahead.
I didn't really quite understand what you were saying, but
Yes, I'm talking about we should have passed this level of malaria, people still getting beaten by mosquitoes. And
yes.
Yes. I mean, what do you think this man coming in now might eradicate or reduce this menace?
For me, I think I'll come from a different perspective. But this time around, they are Nigerians who understand the who are there in Nigerians who are going through this with as Nigerians. So I think they understand this malaria thing more than what's his name? The white people, the Bill Gates that came to. They understand it more better. Yes, they have the money, they have the resources to help aid this movement. I don't think they are going to do this because they're not knowledgeable about this. They're not going to do this on their own. They'll definitely have professionals, medical professionals who they will also call into this as well. I think so. I kind of like the idea that there are Nigerians who are aiding this. So for me, I'm okay with it. Yeah.
By the way, we know that we have infant mortality when it comes to malaria. We have about 24.5% infant mortality in Nigeria. And part of the reason why we have infant mortality is not because of anything else, but because there are two different areas that are operating in Nigeria. That is importation of fake drugs. That's one major area. Pandemic. It's really an epidemic that is taking place in Nigeria. That's the reason one of these what's her name again? That used to be the head of the people that
was
killed. So we need to deal with that area. Number one, we need to deal with that area to ensure that this infant mortality that we are having because of malaria will be eradicated. To make sure that these drugs that are being imported, that they are tested, and ensure that whoever is in charge is not taking bribes to allow billions of dollars worth of drugs, get on the streets because somebody bribed you or whatever. That's why they killed that woman. So it's a cartel also in Nigeria that is actually killing many people, and we are laughing over it. It's not good. So number one is I think they need to turn this around. Just because they are good in one area does not make them good in another area. They have medical doctors in Nigeria. They have different aspects, experts in our country that can take this thing, on and then work with some others, collaborate together to put Otedola, Dangote, and what's his name together over this situation. It's just publicity stunt, if you ask me. What is it that they can contribute? What do they know from their head to their toe regarding medical names and what goes into drugs?
Let's not preempt the plan. It was today they were appointed. Let's see what they will do. I know those men also have their own team behind them and advisors.
So I think so.
They will come up with something. Let's hope for good.
Let's be hopeful. I mean, the Nigerians this time, not the Bill Gates.
Yes. Thank you. So, gentlemen, before we go on the small break, there's also news flash has been coming in more now. We're hearing of, but Godwin is not here to help us. Russia hits energy targets, Ukraine energy centers, and they say people have been killed. It's coming in now, right about now we're talking. So, but let's move on with other news when we come back. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Diva. Thank you for coming.
Elevate your new week, fuel your success. SSM invites you to kickstart each weekday with our news update Between the Lines, featuring the week's top news and analysis and the most attention-grabbing lines, deciphering world events. Hook up to SSM Monday program Between the Lines. In a world where news flies around every minute, you need the ability to relate and connect with what matters and stay up to date. Schengen Story Media News Echoes program is Africans in Diaspora and at Home's leading English news network, one of the most trusted, respected sources for news updates on current affairs as they affect global Africa.
George, Raji in Lagos, and Diva Yema in Turkey. You guys are welcome. So let's move on to more of the news, more things happening. Raji, you have to give us this update. The 20 kidnapped medical students that were rescued during the weekend. First of all, we're happy to hear they've been rescued. But the police also says there was no ransom paid. We don't know how true that is, but also they killed in the process of rescuing those children. Some of the kidnappers were killed. So we don't want to show the video; it's a little bit gruesome, too graphic. But Raji, what's the update on those 20 medical students?
Yeah, I'm quite glad to hear that they have been rescued, and I'm also very happy that there was no ransom paid, according to the government. Because if any ransom were paid, then it will be very sad indeed. I don't even understand how we continue to have all these kidnapping cases and ransoms are paid and people just go about as if it is normal. But I'm glad that those guys have been rescued. There's still one woman who has been kidnapped more than almost a month ago now. A medical doctor who was kidnapped. She's still in captivity, and there's nothing we have heard about her. A woman. Huh? So it's very sad, but I'm glad that these guys have been rescued. And the same way they were rescued, I'm sure will be the same way other people should be rescued. Yes.
Yema, do you think no ransom truly was paid as the police claims?
It's quite funny that we don't even trust our own dear country. We don't trust them with the news, but as they said, no ransom was paid. So let's just believe no ransom was paid, and hope. I'm just grateful that the medical students were released, and I mean that's the most important thing, that they were released. I mean, I'm grateful.
Sir George.
Well, the only thing that can make me believe that no ransom was paid was, if there was an exchange of ammunition, where the leader of the pack was killed, then it's possible that they did not go into that negotiation, to pay ransom, or maybe that was a way for them to get close and then take over, and then was able to kill the guy and then release, the 20 students, which is very good. We must make it uncomfortable for these people, because what I have seen, the reason why you're crying out as if it's normal is it's become so normal to the point where they're using bank accounts to receive money can you imagine that? In a modern world of 2024, you're telling me ransom will be paid into an account and there is no trace to the person who is collecting that money. Something is wrong somewhere. We need to go back to the foundation and begin to destroy all these mess that are happening in our country. Can you imagine? So it's a legal business then. Because if they have bank accounts, evidently, maybe the government is also taking taxes from them, from the kidnapped money. If they're paying taxes to the government. But anyway, I wanted to mention something about the strikes that took place in Russia. I know Godwin is not here, so they say that this is one of the biggest missile attacks that has been done since the war began with Russia and Ukraine. 120 missiles and 102 drones were targeted against infrastructure, that are, actually for the civilians. So water damage, they're not receiving water. Darkness is all over the place, according to them, in that region. So this is what is being said. And 5 people already reported killed. So that's what we have so far. But actually, the president of Ukraine was reporting that this is one of the strongest and the longest and the more numerous missile attacks against them. So that's what we're hearing right now.
Yes. So, and may I go on?
Go ahead.
Yeah. You see, last week we saw the Ukrainians jubilating about their incursions into Russian land. And I just wondering, look, why are the Ukrainians setting themselves off for more brutal revenge attacks? This war has gone on for too long. There should be a way to find peace between these wars. And there's no way that Ukraine will make any serious impact on Russia. There's no way. The earlier the comedian was called to order that this comedy has gone on for too long. It's becoming a tragedy. The better for Ukrainians.
Well, I believe that it is better for Ukrainians for the war to end. It's better for Russia also for war to end.
Yeah,
it's better for the common man of both sides for the war to end. But what you are dealing with is egotistical maniacs, individuals that are making decisions, not because the nation is making decisions, but individuals are making decisions to stay in this war, and therefore the casualties are becoming common people. The sufferings are common people. Millions have already left the land of Ukraine. They are settling around the world today. And the land is becoming just like a desert land. So that's what we're still seeing. But when you have somebody like Putin who will never give up or reason with anybody, and you have the comedian, like you said, who also must make sure that he flexes his muscles. So you have a very dark situation where thousands are dying on a daily basis, and yet no solutions are being brought forth.
But you've forgotten the meddlesomeness of the US in this whole thing.
It doesn't matter. These are sovereign nations. These are sovereign nations. These are sovereign nations that can make a quality decision that will affect their own people positively. Both Russia and Ukraine are to be blamed on this. Lengthy fight on both sides. If the leaders can come together, sit down and discuss, there could be a diplomatic solution. They just exchanged prisoners not too long ago.
Yeah.
So they are obeying the rules of the law of the war on one hand, and on the other side, casualties are humans. You're not supposed to be fighting against civilians, but that's what they're doing on both sides. Mark Godwin. Very sad.
Can you hear me?
Okay.
Yes, can you?
Yes, we can hear you.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, we can hear you now.
We're having slight glitch. So I think it's from the network. Anyway, yes, George, you said those words well. Let's move on to some other stories. We're still in these kidnap season where people are kidnapped and all that. And we are having more news coming in as you guys are talking. Police arrested some arms suppliers to bandits. So there's a chain of suppliers, and they get these arms and take it to the bandits in the forest. So this is what they just found in Katsina State. There's a cartel of armed dealers. It's terrible, and these are some of the major issues of the presidency. I mean, a country where the leadership is not looking into the life and security of the citizen. I don't think there's any other job that governance is doing. I don't know. Raji, is coming in now that some dealers, they found a cartel in Katsina. Katsina State is not Nigeria. And they say they are the ones that supply bandits with arms. So do you have that story, Raji? Is there anything you have on that?
It's not new. There are those we've heard of cases where helicopters were used to drop food for the bandits in the beginning. We know that. So this is not new. This is not a simple supply chain logistic problem. The bandits are not farming in the bush. They have to have some supplies. There are those who take the money to the bucket and supply them with ammunition. It's not new. So it's not a new discovery. So I don't know why the government is now making too much of a dance and a song over it.
But what are they doing about the discovery? That's what matters. Yeah, I mean, is it not sad that we're saying this? People supplying arms to.
I mean, like Raji said, it's not new. I mean, they were still giving them and going there to negotiate with them, right? Giving them bag of rice. I mean, they know what to do. So I think the government are feeding off this whole thing. It's not new. What would they do? Of course, they can do a lot of things about it. The technology is as advanced to a level that anyone can get caught at a second, but they don't want to do anything about it because I'm sure they're feeding off it. So it's not new.
Many years ago, there was a case where the head of a police officer had a criminal gang that was going around terrorizing people, stealing from people, but he was in charge of the investigation. And when you had him to investigate himself, because he was the secret head, every opportunity he will just flash the news when making incursion onto these people, and then they will all run. He will let them know ahead of time. When they go there, they take videos of people running. Everybody will disband. They say we have already stopped it. They will slow down in a little bit, and then they start again until finally an outside force was brought in to investigate and find out that the man who was in charge of the investigation was the head of the criminal gang. This is what's happening in Nigeria. You can't see that. You can't see that. All of a sudden, you have all these people going outside of the country, bringing in all these ammunitions and supplying it to the bandits. Who is buying these products from them? For them. There are people in the government that are using them just the same way that, what we're talking about over here. A police officer is standing on the road, sweating and asking for bribe simply because he's going to go all the way to the very top. They have to meet their own quota to their IG because he goes all the way to the top. And then you're telling him to stop. And then maybe tomorrow they video him receiving bribe, and he comes to the Inspector General of Police, and then they look at it and they say, okay, yeah, we're going to have to discipline them. They remove them from that place and take them to another place in Ikeja, and the person starts again. That's how it is. So we gotta go to the root of everything that is happening in our country. Until we decide to tell ourselves the truth, it will never change. Because the people that are supplying these arms, they have enough money to do it. They know that they are making enough money in return. Return on investment is very huge. And that is the reason. Yes, that's what it is. So they can buy these ammunitions, supply these ammunitions, and even drop food for them to eat. Because they don't want them to eat. Yes.
Now, talking
We can hear you.
Thank you, George.
Audio.
Now, talking of that,
Yes.
Raji, you were analyzing that fracas that happened yesterday in Abuja, where
Abuja.
can you hear me? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can
Yes,
hear
we
you.
can. Yes, we can.
Now?
Yes.
Raji, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I can. I can.
Yes.
Are you talking about the Shiites
the
and
violent
the
confrontation
police?
between police and Shiites.
Yes.
The Shiite,
Yes.
general.
Yes. Yes. It's a normal thing. It is not the first time it is happening. The Shiites used to be they used to be stationed in Zaria. But when their head was arrested and brought to Abuja, most of them now relocated to Abuja. It is an annual procession that they do. It is not the first time. And it seems to me that the only time when there's a fracas is when the police enter it with excessive force. You know these people will go on procession. You know their madness will be for one day. Allow them to exhaust their madness instead of trying to control them and then to engage them and to disrupt their process. Let it be there for just one day, and that is all. I think the police have to learn from history, because every year the same thing happens where there's a fracas between the police and the Shiites. And it is because those who are in the government of the country at the moment, are essentially Sunnis. And the Shiites are the two other sects, the second sect in Islam, between the Sunnis and the Shiites. And it's all started from the very day that the Prophet Muhammad died, when there was a succession problem. You see?
Yes.
And from that time, those who were in support of one process, a lot of them moved from Mecca, and most of them went towards Iran and Iraq. And then those who were successful stayed in Mecca and Medina, and they became the protectors of the shrines of Islam. And then regularly there's a clash between them. There was a time when the Saudi Arabian government was attempting to stop the Shiites from coming on pilgrimage to Mecca. It almost became a war when the Shiites explained to the Saudi Arabian government that you are not the owners of this holy spots of Islam. You are just a guardian, and therefore you cannot dictate who should or should not come. You know,
Okay.
so it's the same. It's the same war that they are fighting all over the world.
The result of this thing, what we are seeing here, I understand where Olayin Karaji is coming from, but the reports we're receiving from the inspector of police is that this Shiite movement, or what you call the Islamic movement of Nigeria, the Shiites there, that they actually attack the police unprovoked.
Yes.
So I don't see, in all honesty, I find some truth into this. Because if they're having their own movement or doing whatever they're doing in a peaceful type of manner, I don't see the police going to attack them. For what purpose? Most of the police officers, they're Islams anyway, they're Muslims. So why would they go and attack them? And I believe that when they're there for just maybe to make sure that there is, when you're doing your protest or whatever that you are doing, and you're doing it in a civil manner, not disrupting or destroying properties, I don't see the police going to attack these people. So I believe, especially we have in what you call Muslim ticket in Nigeria, they are the ones now ruling. So whether they are Shiites or other type of Muslim, having issues with each other, attacking the police is a different thing altogether. So 97 people has been arrested. Two officers were killed, and 3 others are serious injury are in the hospital. So this is, and a lot of police cars, I think 2 or 3 of them were burnt down. Were this done by the police officers? So you have to see what is really going on. And the police officers that were killed, Where did they get the gun? Why are you out there with guns trying to do a protest? Who killed the police officers? So there must be an exchange of bullets. So we don't have a country where you're going to protest and then you bring out guns. What right do you have to carry arms in a civil protest? So this is something we need to condemn completely. We need to condemn
perhaps,
to the
Thank you, George.
Perhaps you should look at a little bit of history. Where is their leader now? Hold on. Please, where is their leader now? Zaki is still in prison. These people, he has been in prison for more than 5 years, if not more.
Why did they put him in prison?
Hold on, please.
Why?
You see, you do not understand. George, you don't understand. You don't understand the friction between the Sunnis and the Shiites. You don't.
Yes, the Shiites.
It's all about power and domination.
There has been friction long. Yes.
We understand that, but just because he's in prison, the question is, did he violate anything to be put in prison?
Even in the Muslim.
I want you to do a little background check.
You understand that? You're saying, where is their leader? Why is he in prison? It's just almost like saying right now, Nnamdi Kanu was picked up from Kenya. He's in prison today. We know that the lengthy time is there.
There's no comparison between Zaki and Nnamdi Kanu. No comparison whatsoever.
Why did they put him in prison?
Look, we need the whole 1 hour to talk about this.
They say he's masterminded some anti. No, listen to the summary. He masterminded an anti-government protest in, I think that was during Buhari's time, 2006 or so, 2016, 17. So, but it's an allegation, but they've held him since then, and he's been there. Now, gentlemen, let's move on. While we're still talking of the military and all this, our intelligence chief, we just heard also that now the other intelligence chief, Chief Ahmed Abubakar, resigned also on Friday. And when we see all of this, is our security not being compromised? I mean, people resigning, people being taken off that agency on security. George, what do you think could be happening?
I don't know what is really happening, but he's been replaced already by our president. So the point is this: that is, they don't want to leave any vacuum in the place. And this guy was, actually, he was appointed by Buhari's government. So we don't know the reason why he's resigning, whether he was forced out or whether they found something on him that was, that was not good and was forced to resign. But all we know is that he's gone, and Tinubu already signed to bring another individual in right away. I think his name is Adeola something, if I'm not mistaken. What's the name of the new person that was just brought in? But the point is this.
No, not yet.
Not yet? No,
yeah. No, not yet. There's no security chief yet. So, but what I'm saying is our security apparatus not compromised? Raji, what do you think when we have all these issues around defense?
There's a lot of subterfuge going on in the security system. This Ahmed Rufai has been there for more than 7 years. The security situation has gone from bad to worse and worse and worse and worse. What the hell is a security intelligence agency doing when there's no security across the whole wide breadth of the middle belt of the southern Kaduna and of all of Niger and Taraba? No, it is not. It's living in Katsina himself, and he's from Katsina. I understand that the former NIA chief was was set up by this man and Magu, or is it Mugu? So there are some things happened in our Ikoyi office where a whole cash of maybe $43 million and £34 million were found, and then there was so much controversy about the whole thing, and that the man was eventually sacked. The man went to court, and he had just been reinstated. He had just been found not guilty, and therefore it came to the point where Ahmed Rufai may have to resign because his coming in was covered in so much mess, so much dirtiness, and and as a head of the NIA, he has been very ineffective.
Okay. Welcome, Mark Godwin. Welcome, Dr. Godwin Ibe. I need to give an update on this particular issue regarding the appointment of new heads. Go ahead, Mark Godwin.
Yes.
Dr. Ibe is with us.
Yeah, Dr. Ibe, we can see you.
Thank you so much. Can you hear me? Yes.
Can you hear us?
Yes, I hope I'm audible.
You are very audible.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay.
Yes, just continue. I'll just
come
in.
Yeah, let me just give an update on this one. In a statement on Monday, presidential spokesman Ajuri Ngalale said Tinubu appointed Mohammed as the new NIA boss, while Adeola Ajayi has been appointed to lead the secret police. Ngalale said the fresh appointment followed the resignation of Ahmed Rufai of NIA and Yusuf Bichi of DSS. Tinubu had retained Bichi, since he's been there for 7 years after being with Mohammed Buhari. So now I honestly believe that maybe something went on behind for these two people to be removed at the same time and be replaced. Maybe they have become a little bit dormant in their operations, because if they're heading these two departments and what's happening is still happening, maybe they don't have fresh ideas. Maybe these new people might be able to increase reduce the insecurity in our country. So I don't know, but this is the latest news that we saw. And that's in Ghana saying this today, actually. The presidential spokesperson.
Thank you, George. Okay, let's have let's just quick do a run fast one. Dr. Godwin, we heard of what's happening from your end, and we wanted you to also come talk about Telegram and the arrest in France. But let's do the fast one of updating us. Russia hits the energy targets, energy centers of Ukraine. 200 drones, they say, have been fired, and missiles. 6 people have died so far. What's the gist from your end, Dr. Godwin?
If 6 have died, it probably a minimal estimate, and also it's collateral damage. There's no way centers of arms storage which exploded into secondary detonation and energy infrastructure, people maintaining them, that it will be that amount. But obviously, like I said, the aim is to attack the energy infrastructures and the logistics for the armed forces of Ukraine. This seems to be done in retaliation to the Kursk invasion, and where lots of Ukrainians have died, many are captured. The graveyards are piling up. It's even the Westerners are condemning the invasion, but they don't know how to stop Zelensky. But people are saying he has some kind of tacit indirect support from the United States to do that, but in public they seem to be condemning the invasion of Kursk. Obviously, it won't end here, because every single inch of Kursk will be taken back. It's just that the loss of lives are piling up, and it's very regrettable, because Ukrainians are human beings. Naturally wish every citizen, every human being well, and it's a very horrible way to die on the battlefield. Now, concerning Telegram, yeah, it's horrible. We still have Edward Snowden here in Russia, who is the Lost But Found, American Prodigal Son. Julian Sange was just released. We hope that will be the end of targeting of free speech. But obviously, now we have Pavel Durov, who naturally shouldn't be targeted because he doesn't live in Russia. He lives in Dubai. Even though he was born in Russia, he doesn't hold Russian citizenship now. Yeah, it's what it is, and we hope that this witch hunting will end and he'll be released.
Thank you very much.
The Russian diplomatic mission, by the way, has released a statement asking the French authorities why it's being held.
Okay. Yes. The charges ranges from cyber criminality. Also, they say funds. There's financial crime. So many charges they've just laid out. Anyway, Iema, what do you think will happen to Telegram with all of this? You think Telegram might soon go down? I know you use Telegram.
Yes, that's what most Africans use here to sell their stuff, their clothes and all of their clothing. So it's going to be it's going to be really, really bad for a lot of people, businesses. I mean, but the needful has to be done. If someone has gone against the rules, the laws, and the needful has to be done. What shall we do?
It's not bound by any law, any national law. So
there's no natural law. But are there any cybercrime or something?
Allegations.
Mark Zuckerberg is free, not in custody.
Exactly.
Elon Musk is free, and then your come on.
Exactly, and I guess it's not white.
He's pure white.
I think it's all because Telegram has refused to put any unnecessary restrictions on people.
Yes, definitely there's nothing like that.
There are no backdoors.
You know what? To whom much is given, much is also required. Because what you have seen with some of these people is because they have enough money, and get, most of the time you see them, not basically being strict over certain issues. Now, the allegations against him, I don't know if it's directed to him, whereby he's not being strict enough according to what they said. But freedom of speech does not mean freedom of abuse. That's one thing we have to understand. There are some of these things that are happening whereby people are basically using these sites to do a lot of illegal activities and doing some things that are not normal. Many people are dying today because of attacks from either peer group pressure or even people when they are put out there, so there must be some laws that will kind of strictly restrict the kind of languages that are being used. And when abuses are found, you're talking about, children's sexual abuse and all those type of things. If it is actually found out and the man refuses, to bring a lot of strict laws or reduce, the trafficking of these type of things, I wouldn't say that it is wrong. But if he is the head, just like Elon Musk today, we know he perpetrates, freedom of speech. But there is a line to cross whereby you'll be held responsible and accountable. So we need to understand that. So we don't know for sure. If the law is against him, the law will either exonerate him or keep him, found guilty, because France arrested him for a reason. It's not just a witch hunt. I don't think so.
It is a witch hunt. And let me tell you something. There's always a problem. There's always a problem with all these so-called fact checkers, the gatekeepers of free speech. There's always a problem. They all have their political biases, political affiliations, and it all turns out that they do not have all the information to make the judgment, and new information comes out and it renders their previous previous decision partial. The collective intelligence of the community is enough to regulate free speech, and if ideas should be challenged by ideas shouldn't be challenged by censorship, shadow banning, and all of that, or imprisonment. It's a marketplace. If you have a superior idea, you can always present it, and the collective intelligence can vet your idea, and if it makes sense, they accept it. But by destroying the platform, imprisoning them, censoring them, shadow banning them, that is not a way to say it. That is being that's been in working with impunity to achieve a particular political aim. There's no way. Everyone has biases in one way or the other. It may be your origin, maybe your school of thought, maybe your upbringing in one way or the other. So the best way to checkmate all these biases is allowing freedom of ideas in the marketplace and let the community or the collective intelligence choose what stays and what leaves. So no one should exalt themselves to the point of God.
Can I ask you a question, Dr. Godwin? Dr. Godwin, let me just ask you a question, Dr. Godwin. Was there a time that Russia sanctioned this man, Durov? Was there a point in time when he was sanctioned?
Yes.
Okay, so was it okay to be sanctioned at that time? And it is not now.
It's never okay. Look, I'm giving you my opinion. You're asking me about Russia. I'm not Russia. I'm only
because you're making a mention as if what is done is okay.
Let me give my answer. No. Listen.
Go ahead.
You're going political, and I'm going principle. My principle. Let me just finish what Sir George said. My principle is to allow free speech. However, even the Prime Minister of Russia, Medvedev, told Pavel Durov, you have to release people who violate the law. Otherwise, you will have problem. If it's not in Russia, you have problem elsewhere, because in every country they will kind of try to want to limit you according to their national laws. But Pavel Durov has the policy of cooperating with government agency only to the point where it does not reveal confidential information or goes against user privacy. So he doesn't allow backdoors. He doesn't reveal. He allows the people to police themselves in a way. So that's why
we know Telegram doesn't have any backdoor. Anyway, viewers, you're listening to gentlemen talking between the lines. We're talking about the Telegram that has been that is having issues. Pavel Durov was arrested by the French authority. Let's see what happens as the week proceeds. Gentlemen, let's take it up from here. There were other things we would have talked about, but our time is gone and we have to go, because we were to talk of also a Nigerian blogger. I don't know if I call him a blogger. Is called P-Dom Bristow. From Rivers State. He's also been arrested. They say he's an anonymous whistleblower on X, former Twitter, and he's creating some security crisis for Nigeria. So he's presently also being held. We would have talked about that, but maybe on Wednesday we'll talk about him. So let's go home now. Raji, thank you for coming. Yes, that's the man there. George, thank you for coming. Let's come Wednesday. More issues, more things to talk about. Godwin, thank you. You put a lot a lot of insight there. For tuning in too. All right, so viewers, that's it. Between the Lines, 26 August, and we've done our thing. See you guys on Wednesday.
Nyama, it's very refreshing to see your face.
Yeah, man.
Let's do it more often.
Yes, sir.
Thank you
so much.
All right, guys. Thank you.